Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of On the Hook, the official Yellow Pike Media podcast. I am Rick. I will be your host as we talk with a very special guest on this episode. We don't often get creators to come on here, so I'm very excited. Before we do that, I would like to introduce everyone to Jordyn Tucker, also here at YPM. Hi, Jordyn. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? Excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, I'm very excited to do a show with you. I've been looking forward to this for a while because we started planning this end of last year. So, Jordyn, why don't we start by just having you explain who you are and what you do here at Yellow Pike?
Well, as Rick said, I'm Jordyn Tucker. I'm a junior influencer manager, and I'm in charge of everything, or I work with the team, and I'm in charge of everything influencers. We reach out, get the contracts going, and we make dreams happen.
So, if Jordyn shows up in your inbox, respond to her.
Yes, immediately.
She is
please.
legit. Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Jordyn, why don't you introduce our guest? Because I know you've worked with him closely fairly recently.
Yes, one of my favorite creators to work with. We have Blue Thunder Gaming.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Blue, welcome to the podcast. We're very appreciative of the fact that you took the time out of your schedule to come and talk to us and hang out a little bit. We're very excited to talk to you.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much, Rick and Jordyn. I'm happy to be here.
So why don't you start, kind of like Jordyn, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your content, what you do for the people that maybe don't know you, or should I say don't know you yet?
Sure. So I specialize in short form gaming centered content. And when I say gaming centered, I don't do streaming. I don't do stream clips. I mostly do game previews. I highlight upcoming games that are coming out. I like to show some love to games that maybe people haven't heard of or haven't played before, and make sure they get some love if they deserve it. But basically, game previews, game impressions, game reviews.
Cool. That's not where your story starts, though, is it? In creation, you used to work in nonprofit.
Yeah. I worked in right out of college. I worked in nonprofit for 10 years, specifically in a couple agencies that focused on after school programs for at-risk youth and mentorship. So that was my passion throughout school. I had a rough upbringing in my earlier years before I moved to Arizona. So that's kind of where that passion came from. And I did that for 10 years. I was at the director level. I worked my way up. I think I made a pretty big impact doing that, and really loved it. And it was really satisfying work. So, and it taught me a lot of valuable skills that I use in the influencer space today.
What was the catalyst that kind of made you switch, though? After 10 years in that space, what was let's go do this other kind of crazy online thing? What was the catalyst?
Sure. So, I love that question. I get that a lot. So I had built this game room already. It looked pretty similar to what it does now. And a friend had seen it and they're like, why don't you try streaming? I make about $60 a month on Twitch. And that nonprofit salary, that $60 a month sounded pretty good. So I gave it a shot. And I have a very addictive and passionate personality. So of course I became very obsessed with it. Hit Twitch partner in under 6 months, and streaming was my focus, and it was going really well. And that's kind of how that all started. Eventually, I focused more on my content, started to bring in brand deals, landed some really big deals. One being Starfield with all of you all, which was just a real dream scenario. That was my game that year that I really wanted to work on, and I pursued it, and probably bothered Jordyn a little bit, but it happened. So, financially, it was time to really dive in. And I also had a daughter. She's just turned 2. So doing content and working full time, it was just, I couldn't be a good father and do both of those things at the same time.
Totally understand that. That brings up an interesting question. I don't think sometimes a lot of people realize, you just mentioned, I got into it because a friend said he was making $60, and $60 when you're in the nonprofit space is, that's nice. And I can feel that. I have a nonprofit background. But it is a lot of work. People think it's like, oh, he just makes a 2-minute TikTok and everything's easy. What is that process like? Seriously, when you get someone like Jordyn in your inbox who says, "Hey, I want you, to maybe do this thing," right? And I don't know about other deals you've gotten. We tend to lay out pretty clearly, I feel, what it is we're asking for. Walk me through what that 1 or 2 minute TikTok video really requires from you.
Sure. So the first thing I do before I do anything is obviously the idea. And usually you all will provide me most of that idea, or a brand sometimes will provide a decent chunk of the idea. The hardest part for me is the scripting process. That's really the first step. And that's just where I write the script. Scripts can be, I think your script is the most important piece of the content, in my opinion. Much more over editing, much more over how cool the gameplay looks or how nice your camera is. Script is everything. So I start with the script. I'll write a really quick, real rough script, and then I'll go through it multiple times and take out things and add things and switch out words. Usually my scripts are a little repetitive at first. Like I'll repeat the same words over and over again. So I'll fix all that stuff. And then I record my face cam. I have a nice teleprompter, so that makes it really, really easy and quick. Put the face cam in, and then I'm just matching gameplay. And then my last step is to go in and add all the fancy effects that make it really pop. I'm really proud to say that I do all of my own editing completely. It's all me. And I learned that's all self-taught. And I'm pretty proud of that. A lot of creators do not do that. So, yeah, I think that's something that kind of sets me apart, because especially when communicating with a brand, there's no middleman. I don't have to go tell my editor to do something. It's just me.
That's awesome. That's something I did not know. Your videos are so clean and tight that, I guess, Jordyn, correct me if I'm wrong, when we see quality that high, we always just assume it's like, oh, he can't possibly have enough time to do that on his own. There's got to be somebody doing it. And you kind of wonder in the back of your head, but it's awesome to hear that it's all you.
Yeah. I'd love to have somebody. I've looked just for time's sake, but it's just hard to find somebody. It's hard to find the right person.
I guess my big question, I've always wondered this from creators, when do you know it's done? When do you get to that point where you look at it and you go, okay, I can submit this to the brand and get my approval to post?
When I watch it and I lose track of time. Yeah, that's probably the best answer. If a 1 minute video feels like a 30 second video, that's when it's done. Because you can overdo you can over edit as well.
Right. Around here, our team has a saying that perfection is the enemy of good enough.
Yeah. I like
you
that.
can edit forever, right? And it doesn't necessarily improve anything, and it can actually make things worse.
Yeah.
That's interesting. When you lose track of time, I like that.
Yeah.
Where did you get your name, Blue Thunder?
So that came from my dad. My father was a professional boxer in Detroit, and his name was Blue Thunder. He was a light heavyweight. You can find him on YouTube. His fights are on YouTube, and he passed away in May of 2020, and that was right around the time I was starting my content journey, and so it just made sense, and I adopted the name. And I feel like that kind of gives me some like magic juju that kind of helps my success, because I've had a really quick track to success, and I feel like maybe that's him working behind the scenes a little bit.
Does that influence, your father's history? Does that influence how you go about creating content, or kind of the persona you want to project through your content?
Not really. I mean, it motivates me to want to make him proud and take it as far as I can. But no, I wouldn't say it influences how I do it. No.
Did you ever consider a more literal following in his footsteps and stepping into the ring? Would you do it for charity?
Would I do it for charity? Of course I would. Yeah. I've done enough charity work. I'll keep doing it. No, I'm too big of a wuss to box, man. I sparred. I grew up and I did box for about 6 months. And I went to when you get into boxing, you have to go to just bluntly, you have to go to the ghetto, and you have to find the most rundown gym you can find. And that's where you need to learn how to box. Don't go to your fancy uppity gyms. So I went there, and this little 6-year-old Hispanic kid beat the crap out of me. And
Wow.
so this kid's 6, I'm 16. This ain't for me.
Blue went home quick after that, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I hope he's doing well because he was amazing. He was amazing.
Did you follow up? Do you know if he's doing well or if he continued on after?
He was something really special, so I'm sure if he kept at it, yeah, he had a good trainer too.
I was really waiting for him to say, and the kid's name was Mike Tyson. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did gaming begin for you? Like, what was that first? This is fun. This is what I want to do. I'm having like all the fun doing this. What was your first game?
I mean, my first console was TurboGrafx. I don't know if either of you have heard of TurboGrafx. It's very old school.
Old school.
But the first memory I have of like really falling in love with a game was definitely like N64 Spider-Man. I don't know if you all have heard of the game Blast Course for N64, just a little construction game. So N64 is a big memory. I'm wearing the shirt right now, but Dreamcast is a favorite console of mine. You know, Sonic Adventure, Power Stone, Resident Evil. And then I have a good memories of playing like Resident Evil 1 on PS1 as well.
Wow. That's old school. You go all the way back to RE1. Have you continued playing the series? As a series, is it a favorite for you?
Yeah,
we're trying to get you work, dude.
What was that?
We're just trying to get you a little work. You know, maybe they'll hear and
there you go
and give you a call.
Yeah, Capcom and Resident Evil are my number one favorite franchises, of course. No, but no, I love Resident Evil. I just replayed through 4 remake for the second time. It's fantastic. I'm not a big fan of 5 and 6, but really every other one is pretty phenomenal. I loved the first person versions with 7 and 8. Absolutely terrifying. So yeah, Capcom's in a great spot, man. Capcom is almost untouchable lately.
Yeah, there's a lot coming that really looks amazing, and pretty much everything they've done the last year or so has been spot on. Especially like you say, the Resident Evil stuff. With the new year, we get new games, right? So what's the buzz? What have you heard so far that you're really looking forward to?
Sure. Stalker is one that Stalker 2. I'm really excited for. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I know that's I think that's an Xbox PC exclusive. Hellblade 2 for Xbox looks absolutely incredible. I just hope they prioritize gameplay too, because it looks like they're pumping a lot of energy into the visuals. But Hellblade 2 is great. Whatever Naughty Dog is working on next, I know there's rumblings of them potentially doing some sort of, I think it was space-themed game or sci-fi game. And to see what Naughty Dog could do with that would be fascinating. And then like Monster Hunter World is one of my favorite games. And to see that sequel recently be announced was really exciting too.
Yeah, big fan of the Monster Hunter World series. So.
Yeah, I got a poster back here, but y'all can't see it, but there's a poster back there.
Blue has secret posters in his streaming area.
Yes. Yes.
Nice. Jordan, what's yours? What are you waiting for this year? Jordan is a lot bigger gamer than we knew when we brought her on. And
she really?
Put some of us to shame. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear about it.
I'm just a classic Call of Duty girly. So when Call of Duty came out, I've been on I think it's Modern Warfare 2, basically. That's what it feels like. So that's been my game recently. And then I just got onto Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Just got that for Christmas. So I've been chugging away at that. It's a beautiful game. So those are the top 2 right now. Future-wise, I don't know yet.
Have you spent a lot of time like building little different crafts and buildings and stuff in Tears of the Kingdom? Or little
Not yet.
And stuff? Okay.
No, and I see the wood and stuff sitting there in the corner, but I'm always like, I don't know if that's for my using or what I'm supposed to do. So now that knowing this, I think I should start building a little bit.
Yeah, it's a really cool part of the game.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's good info for me. I'm never playing Call of Duty with Jordan. I'm horrible at FPSs. I'm basically free XP wherever I go. So I'm never playing with you, Jordan.
I could carry you. Don't worry.
You can carry me?
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. That's a deal. Help me rank up.
We got to get Jordan out to like the next COD Next event.
Ah, there we go.
I would love that.
Blue, you mentioned you started streaming, right? That was where you started. What led to the switch?
I mean, streaming is utterly exhausting. It is so exhausting, at least for me, because when I used to stream, I'd really kind of put on a show. Like, I have a smoke machine, the lights would flash. I've always loved hip hop music, so I'd play a lot of hip hop and just dance around and scream and go crazy. And that's kind of what which may be weird because I'm kind of low key naturally, but that's what my stream was. So it was really exhausting. And also, like, really was just closed off for my family when I'm streaming. Content I can get up during an edit, and my daughter can come in the room and say hi to me and things like that.
Yeah, it's several hours of, you're in a box, right? And everything and anything is a distraction at that point. So I totally get it. It sounds like the switch also made you happier and more relaxed with your content creation. Do you feel it led to an improvement?
100%. Obviously, I have more time to focus on content. The income, I was making significantly more money from content versus streaming, but additionally, the income is way more consistent with content than streaming, because streaming is so up and down, man. A lot of it depends on like that big gifter of the month who's going to drop 100 subs that month or 150 subs, and then, to be frank and transparent, a lot of the streaming culture is something that I just did not really vibe with, especially when like Kick came around. A lot of the Kick culture that came, both big streamers and really the smaller community, is just very disingenuous in my opinion. It's just not something I really cared to be a part of anymore.
So some of it was kind of, sounds like a little bit mental health as much as anything else, just kind of getting out of an environment that you weren't fully comfortable being in.
Yeah. The mental health aspect of streaming is brutal, and it's brutal for content in general too. If I have two TikToks tank in a row, I feel like my career is just crumbling, even though I know it's going to be fine. But yeah, I don't envy the streamer life, and those who can do it, I admire greatly, because it is hard work, man.
I would say there's a lot of people out there who have thought about, oh, maybe I'll just make TikToks or maybe I'll just do shorts, but there's still that, it's interesting here. There's still that self-imposed, really, I guess, pressure of this has to hit, everything has to hit. If something doesn't hit it, all those doubts come flooding in. How do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis? And then just sort of that, I don't want to say imposter syndrome. Everybody says that, right? But just that whole, how do I know this is going to be okay because this one just tanked? How do I know tomorrow is going to be a better day? How do you kind of mentally walk yourself through that?
Yeah, another really great question. You have a very good understanding of this whole content thing, which makes sense given your position in the industry. But I mean, I've been really blessed and fortunate I was approached by someone named Insight Gaming. You all have worked with him as well. And he approached me early on and was like, "Hey man, love your content. I'd love to talk to you about joining this group." And of course, I was really skeptical at first, because a lot of groups are kind of like, I don't know, they have weird intentions. But it's been like one of the biggest assets. So there's a group of us creators. There's about 10 of us, maybe 20 of us, and we all talk all the time. We go to events together. We stay at Airbnbs together, and we bounce ideas off one another. And I go to those guys when I'm having some rough videos or not performing right, and they always kind of talk me off the ledge.
It sounds like a support group.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And very selfless. Like there's no competition. We're just helping each other out, truly.
That's awesome. How important would you say for a new streamer finding that kind of group or that kind of support, or even just one or two people that you can have that kind of interaction in? Because I would think very early on, maybe if you had that, you might have taken another path.
I mean, I had it early on. I really did. There was a lot of people who helped me out in streaming early on, who are great people and never asked for anything in return. I would say new streamers need to be very wary of the word support, because there's something called support for support, which is kind of like a pyramid scheme thing where people like agree to spend time in each other's streams and then get mad if you're not there to boost numbers. I think finding the people is important, but you got to make sure they're the right people, and that's pretty hard to come by in streaming.
More so than in short form, like TikTok or
For sure.
really.
Yeah. It's just like less. You're in your own lane more with content.
Interesting. Would have thought it may have been comparable, but again, that's two things I've learned today.
Yeah. I mean, that's my experience.
I wanted to ask too, what's some advice that you heard from your support group that kind of kept you going? Because I know you said it kept you off the ledge, but is there anything specific that kind of stuck out and motivated you?
I mean, they'll give me like really specific feedback. Like, hey, like I'll do a video I think is great, and then I'll send it to them. Be like, this video didn't perform. What happened? And they'll give me like very critical, blunt feedback, which I can easily take and really appreciate. So that's always really helpful. And then they'll also just say like, dude, everyone has bad videos, or I'm having a bad month too, or the TikTok algorithm shifted. It's weird this week, and that usually helps. And it always comes back. Views always come back. So TikTok is just. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That relatability is what's helping you most, then, right? Just knowing that you're not alone in what's going on.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Because there's no support from TikTok. You can't find a human being at that organization to talk to. So, yeah.
I feel like you just brought up a really good point, and I don't think it's just TikTok, to be fair. I don't think platforms invest a ton in going out of their ways to help their creators in that kind of way that you've mentioned that this group of creators do for you. And it can be really challenging. And knowing that, I'm really happy you found a group that can provide meaningful, useful feedback and that you can take it and not feel threatened. Because I know a lot of creators sometimes, even in just our experience with passing feedback from brands, can really take that personally. And I don't feel like creators sometimes realize, especially when they're starting out, that there is no institutional support, right? TikTok's not going to come to you and say, hey, we saw your content, drop off here, and we want to throw you some pointers. Twitch isn't going to do it. YouTube's not going to do it. You're a number generator, I guess. I mean, that sounds cold, but this is all a business, right?
Yep.
So that's an important point. I think a lot of first time or people thinking about getting into content creation probably need to be more aware of. You've got to have a vision and follow it and be pretty dedicated to that, wouldn't you say?
100%. And I think a pitfall that creators can fall into is also like blaming the platform. If your content did not perform, it was not good content. It's simple as that. It just is this. Maybe there are exceptions, but that's just something I try to live by.
Somebody should frame that. We put it somewhere.
Yeah. Because that's how you learn and you grow. If I could think a video is amazing, and I've had those videos that I thought were absolutely incredible, and then they do so bad, and it's like, okay, well, that wasn't good content. How can I make it better?
That takes a certain level of brutal self-honesty that I think is sometimes challenging for people.
Sure. You can't be what's the word? Like self-important in this space. And I feel like a lot of influencers are, and I'm nothing special, man. And just trying to do my best.
He says I'm nothing special. So I think this is a great place to go. So tell us about Dane Cook.
Dane Cook, man. I love Dane. Yeah, I have his I'm sure he's fine with this. I have his phone number. We text and stuff. It's kind of wild.
How did that come about?
Yeah. So one day I saw he was following me on TikTok, and he was only following like 60 people. So I thought that was really crazy. So I DM'd him, said I was a big fan, which I genuinely am. I grew up on Harmful If Swallowed. I was a little boy listening to that album. That was like my introduction to comedy. And then it was like Eddie Griffin was like my number 2. And my mom didn't like me listening to him quite as much because he's kind of profane. But anyways, yeah. And so I DM'd him, and then we've just been talking about gaming. He's genuinely a big gamer. So we talked about gaming. We played Call of Duty a few times. I've helped him with stuff with his Twitch. And then he had me come backstage when he was in tour in Phoenix 2 months ago, which was really cool. I got to hang out with him backstage. He gave me free tickets to the show, and we're still trying to find a way to work together professionally in the gaming space. He has some ideas. We're still trying to work on it, but that guy is always planning something big. He's always got a next big move, and it was really cool to see the arena or the theater. It was a big theater, completely sold out this far into his career as well, because he's been at it a long time.
That's awesome. So you guys have actually managed to find time to game together?
Yeah, we've played some Call of Duty.
The two of you take Jordyn?
Yeah.
Yeah, she can be our third.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll join the squad.
There we go.
Fair warning, Jordyn. He is incredibly competitive. He was angry at me multiple times.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. I'm like, as long as he takes that out on everyone else, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I don't think we haven't gamed in a while. Our styles for gaming in Call of Duty don't mesh well. He likes to play it low key and more strategic, and I just run out like a madman. So
same.
Yeah.
Low key and more strategic, not words I immediately associate with Dane Cook, but
yes.
Good to know.
No, he's a good gamer, man, for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to see that, because Jordan's super competitive too.
Oh yeah.
There was a whole Mario Kart tournament thing we'll have to fill you in on later.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's too funny. So what's next? It's 2024. It's a whole new year. What's next? How do you keep moving forward?
I have something in the works that I can't talk too much about, but it's a position in the industry in regards to esports. And esports commentary. It would require about 20 hours a week of my time, so it's a pretty big commitment. That's in the works. Hopefully I'll be able to talk about that soon, but it's a pretty dang big deal. The biggest thing I've been involved with so far. And then, just looking to continue to build relationships with agencies and brands, because in the end, that's really what I love to do. Something I loved about nonprofit was building relationships with the principals. Like, I just like building relationships with people. And that can get lost in content. So the way I kind of replace that, because it's something I loved about nonprofit, is just try to build strong relationships with the brands and agencies. So continuing to do that. I love doing brand deals, not only because obviously that's what pays my bills, but these are the games and brands that I grew up with as a little kid, just dreaming about. So, every single one I get in my inbox is just like the little kid inside of me is laughing and smiling and happy. So that's the plan, man.
That's the dream, right? It is to do that thing. So I'm going to ask you like the really hard question.
Sure.
And don't worry, I'm not going to ask it in that employer context of where do you see yourself in 5 years, but what's endgame? What is the dream situation 10 years from now, 5 years from now?
Sure. I think the dream situation, and again, I'm still very new. I just passed a year of doing this. I've been making content for 2 years. I didn't start doing gaming content until January of 23. So I think ideally I'd love to have a team behind me who's taking care of the editing, idea generation, and I'm kind of just the face recording. And we're putting out a bunch of content on YouTube, short form content, long form content, and we're just kind of a brand in the gaming space, similar to something like I don't think anyone does it very good yet in the gaming space. I don't think anybody does short form and long form very good. It's kind of one or the other.
Right.
I'd love to master both of those. Yeah.
And do them simultaneously. So have a steady stream of short and long form. Do you see streaming ever factoring back into that?
So the way I stream now is I only stream on TikTok because I'm just very invested in that platform, and I rarely ever do it. I haven't done it for a couple months, but if there's a big game release and that comes out and I have early access to it. So for Lords of the Fallen, I took advantage of that, and I had like 800 people in my live stream for like 3 days straight because I was the only one with that game, or one of the only ones. And then I can't talk about this one at all, but I have had The Last of Us Part 2 remastered for a few days. And planning something for that as well.
Awesome. Looking forward to seeing that. Big fan of that series as well. So interesting future. Interesting. I'm really excited to hear that you've really kind of only been doing this for about a year, because that's some amazing growth, and that's really impressive. It's not surprising given the quality of your content.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I can transfer my addictive personality into good or bad, and thankfully I found something good with the content.
If you had two pieces of rock solid advice, in your opinion, to give to someone who's up and coming, or someone who says, I want to be like Blue, he does what I want to do, what would those two pieces of advice be?
Two pieces of advice would be to, I guess if you're just starting out, I would throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So if something's not working, do it differently, pick a different niche, do what you got to do. But that's how it is initially. Throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, and then replicate that. When you're replicating that, try to pick one thing about each video you make and try to make it better the next time. Mm-hmm. That's what I've done. So as long as your next video is at least a little bit better, even if it's very small, that should get you in a good place. And then I guess I'll make it 3. The last thing I'll say is pick something that either no one is doing yet, or find something that you can do better than who's currently doing it.
That last bit right there. I hear all the time, not just from content creators. It's like, it's what's the old artist saying? Good artists borrow, great artists steal.
Yeah.
I've told
Tarantino
people,
said that maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think it might be older than that.
Oh, really? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think he was passing info. But okay. I'm a firm believer in that. If you can do it better, do it. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Jordyn, thoughts? Deep questions you need answered?
I want to know, do you think that the Blue from January 2023 expected to see the Blue he is today? Or were you kind of just, like you said, throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what was sticking? Like, did you think this was projected for your future? Or were you kind of like, I don't know, let's see?
No. I didn't at all. Until I started like really putting my mind to it. And then I'm confident when I put my mind to something, I'm confident I can achieve it. And so once I kind of hit that point, yeah, I was ready for it. I was committed to getting to where I'm at right now.
That's good.
But no, it started off as just casual fun.
I think that's an important starting point, honestly.
Yeah.
It's got to be fun or you're not going to stick with it, right? Blue, thank you so much. We love working with you and really appreciate you coming on and doing this with us. We can't wait to see what 2024 is and to keep working with you. Because it sounds like you got some interesting stuff coming. Can't wait to see it.
Yes. Thank you all so much. It was an honor. It was a no-brainer once you asked me. Thank you for asking me to do this. And again, I'm not saying this to blow smoke. But you're one of those agencies that, because a lot of agencies don't have this. You all have a pretty good understanding of what it's like to be us and how to work with us and things like that. And so thank you for that.
Awesome. Thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it. We try really hard to be as relatable as we can. We understand what you guys do isn't easy, and we want you guys to have all the space and resources we can provide. So
sure.
Sounds like we have a pretty good partnership here. And again, just looking forward to continuing it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you all. Thanks, Rick. And thanks, Jordyn. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Blue. You want to give a shout out? What's your channel? Now's your chance.
TikTok is Blue_Thunder Gaming. If you just look up Blue Thunder Gaming, I'm the only one out there. You'll find me everywhere. Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere good content is displayed.
Yes. Yes. Not the one that starts with a, yeah.
No. So, and on that note, I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching and listening. You can always find us at yellowpikemedia.com, or you can listen to the audio only version of this podcast on Spotify. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your month, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.